This is gonna be one of those days. All right. So I guess I should start with my fan fiction. Uh, it is a Wolf of Wall Street fan fiction. I don't even know what I'm going to call this episode, since this is basically just not going to be a Wolf of Wall Street episode.
I have not even seen that movie.
It's on Netflix, and it's really good. My brother was watching it last night.
All I know from it is that there's this one scene, and I think it's the same movie, of this beautiful blonde woman in a short dress and high heels sitting on the floor, and when he tries to approach her, she sticks her heel in his face and, like, slowly pushes him to the ground. Is
Hmm.
that the same movie?
Maybe? I don't know. It's a long movie. There's a lot of scenes in it. It's like 3 hours long.
Ah,
If you hear a baby screaming in the background, that would be one of Sarah's teammates for her pediatric recycling team. We'll just
okay.
explain that away lore wise. Uh, no, my sister and her and my nephew are here, and so he's a wee little babby, and he is screaming his head off.
Perfect.
Yeah, Sarah, you can come over and fix that for me, right?
I'm gonna let you deal with that.
All right, fine. All right. So I'll start with my fan fiction. This one's called A Most Intense Brunch, and I'll begin. Leonardo DiCaprio's character and Jonah Hill's character are sitting at a fine oaken table in their fabulous 1980s corporate office. DiCaprio is holding a toasty Reuben sandwich. He slowly raises it up to his mouth, he takes a bite, and then he lowers the Reuben. And not once for any solitary moment does he take his eyes off of Jonah Hill. He chews very slowly and deliberately, like this, like. Mwah, 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 mwah. He places his Reuben on the plate and then continues to chew. I'm gonna strangle my dog for barking so goddamn much. He chews for so long that the Reuben is nothing more than a runny mush. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna just get my dog to shut up. Crimey. That dog was like 2 inches from the baby's face, just barking in it.
Wow.
The baby's just like sitting there like whatever the fuck.
What is this thing?
Alright, I'll just start back here. He chews for so long that the Reuben is nothing more than a runny mush, squelching through his teeth and around his gums like. He still hasn't broken eye contact, and Jonah Hill hasn't touched his animal crackers. He's way too afraid for that, and his breathing intensifies, and his heart begins to race and steadily increase, and you could floss with this fucking level of tension. Jonah Hill tries to break the tension, and he opens his mouth to speak. He goes, "What?" But then DiCaprio just cuts him off, going, "Ay, ay, 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 ay." He snipes, liquid corned beef dribbling out of his mouth and ruining his pristine pants. The silence returns, and DiCaprio continues to chew the same bite of his Reuben. Jonah Hill's eyes begin to fidget, darting around the walls in order to find something to distract him. But DiCaprio's gaze is like an echidna's dick. You can't avoid looking at it. The faint squeal of Jonah Hill's stomach can be heard over DiCaprio's mushy, moist chewing. He begins to reach for his animal crackers. They're the frosted kind, nice and pink and delicious looking. But the moment his hand hovers above the giraffe-shaped plate, DiCaprio screams at him and smacks his hand away. Hey, 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 hey! Stop it. More liquid Reuben milked down his chin and onto his pants, and Jonah Hill's eyes began to redden and water. He's getting very upset at this point, and the constant chewing of that single bite of that sandwich, the persistent glare in the ruined pants is just making him just go like, fuck! And he begins to sweat profusely, and a small amount of urine just kind of leaks out of his penis. He's just kind of really upset at this point. And he opens his mouth to speak again. I. But then DiCaprio just bolts straight up into like a hunched standing position. He's like, no! No, 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 no! No! And DiCaprio begins waving his arms up and down beside him like he's trying to fly, and whatever was left of his sandwich just went all over the desk and onto a bit of Jonah Hill's animal crackers. Like, no, 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 no! And then he kicks his fucking chair halfway across the room and just starts shrieking, no! No! Ah! And DiCaprio just turns around and begins lightly just banging his forehead on the wall. And then a faint smell begins to permeate the room, and then Hill begins to heave when he just realizes that DiCaprio had actually just shit his pants. He goes, "Oh God, what the fuck?" And says Jonah Hill, and then this infuriates DiCaprio, and he just swivels his head around like really far, like so far that it's like pretty much almost unnatural how far he turned his head around, and his eyes are like pure white. And he opens his mouth to scream, but only like a cascade. And when I say a cascade, I fucking mean it. A cascade of hairy spiders, mice, and pills just fall out of his mouth, and they're covering the floor, squirming and crawling and rolling around. And the waterfall of narcotics and critters it doesn't stop, it doesn't cease. And then they're like knee deep in this stuff, and it's just filling up the room. And Jonah Hill just runs up to DiCaprio and just starts screaming in his face. He's like, "You don't have to do this! You don't have to do this! We are free men! You don't have to do this!" But DiCaprio just can't hear him, and the mess is just up to their chest now. And then Jonah Hill just keeps screaming like, "Leonardo DiCaprio's character, you don't have to do this! We went through Nam together, man! You don't have to do this!" And then right before the refuse and the vermin cover their airways, DiCaprio just cocks his head towards Hill, and he just manages to scream with complete clarity despite all the stuff flying out of his mouth. "Ah! Wolf of Wall Street." And then they suffocate and die. The end.
Well
All right.
then. Uh, that got intense really quickly.